This is Sean Bigga. Shout out to my brother Mikey T, the movie star. You can find me at The Bigger Picture. It's spelled Bigga. Please like, subscribe, all the things that these guys tell you. It would really greatly be appreciated, and you would definitely enjoy. And also, Mikey T, the movie star. Those that haven't subscribed and like.
First of all, I would like to introduce and say it is a pleasure to have the former co-host, I repeat, the former co-host of My Expert Opinion, a very controversial individual, but an individual that stands by his words, an individual that I would like to say stands on business. Harlem's own Sean Bigga.
What's going on, Mikey T? How you doing? This is a God afternoon.
Well, Sean Bigga, let's start this interview off by first acknowledging the moves that you're making and congratulating you on your very fast success. So let me just say that off top. I know for a fact that there's not many people you'd sit down and do this with.
I haven't sat down and did this one anymore, Mikey T. You're the first.
Yeah, man. And I want to just start off by saying, man, Sean Bigga, you're not on everyone's platform. You're selective. So I want to let you know that my audience appreciates you for linking up with me.
Definitely, Mikey T. I appreciate you too. You've been hitting me on the Instagram. We've been chatting back and forth, and I appreciate you too. I was watching you when you first started this out. So to me, like, you're one of the founding forefathers for this whole movement. So I appreciate you too, Mike.
Really, that's dope, man. And I want to start off by getting a general idea of where you're from, where you were born and raised, and what area you represent.
I'm from Harlem, New York, 139th Street, Lenox Avenue, the dark side, same block as Big L, Herb McGruff, et cetera, et cetera.
That area that you're from, some would say it's legendary. Some would say that area is the birthplace of hip hop. Some may argue that that's arguable. Tell me about the influence that your block had on you.
Oh, boy, it was a tough block. I went to private school, and growing up the block from me, the danger zone, they was already like a united forefront, and it was just a big park on my block, a legendary big park. If you watch above the rim, that's the park that Tupac was playing basketball in. That's my block. And those guys was exactly what it was. It was the danger zone. And so growing up, me being a private school kid coming from a certain different background, it was like it was an experience, let's just say that. It was a very learning experience for me.
Can you tell me why people say it's a legendary block?
It will be a legendary block for one because of the crew that came out that block. So when I was young growing up, you don't understand, what your block is, but the NFL crew, shout outs to the NFL crew, Big L, and like I said, Herb McGruff and many others, that crew was arguably the strongest block in Harlem besides maybe 141st Street, Lenox Avenue, 142nd Street, Lenox Avenue. But that was the strongest. There was no crew messing with NFL crew. They was a strong united front of brothers, and they pretty much held it down. And then of course Big L, come out of that block. If you think of The Wire, it was sort of like that. For many years, that crew, ran that block.
Could you tell me what the NFL crew stood for?
Um, I don't want to use that word, so let's just say Negroes for life.
Could you also tell me how you met Big L and how far back with Big L did you go?
To the child, I can't even have earliest memory. He's a little older than me, but from a little kid I knew, same block, so I used to see him from my earliest memory. And my earliest memory, he was always fresh. He was always and he was wearing Nike Air sneakers and all of that stuff before I even knew what any of that stuff meant. So my earliest memories of coming outside, going to catch the bus to go to my private school, and I used to see Al. So we going back to about 6, 7 years old.
Did you watch Big L come up battling rappers? I wanted to ask, was Big L a battle rapper, or would you say he was more focused on music?
His career started out battle rapping. Yes, he definitely his rise to fame. Yeah, he was battle rapping, and it was all throughout Harlem, his success that he was having.
Did you ever witness him battling anybody?
No, not personally. Me and him used to share bars back and forth with each other, but no, besides that, no, I looked up to Big Al, he so we used to, when we would see each other, he would test my skills, what I'm saying, like, because I was rapping pretty much all my life too. So, he knew that was a passion of mine. So when he would see me, he would test my skills, we would, trade bars amongst each other. Battle rapping was different at that time. It wasn't the disrespect that grew to what you know now. It was all about a skill level back then to see how well your skill was. It wasn't so much about, the disrespect. That was not a part of it.
Did you know Mason Cameron as well? Were they around Big L at that point?
Yes, yes. Cameron is from 140th Street. Me and Cameron is connected in more than one way. His uncle is married to my cousin, for many years. They have many kids together. And then also Cameron's grandmother lived in my father's building on the east side of Harlem, even though me and Cam never built a relationship because Harlem was like a different place, like, we could see each other and know each other every day, but if we didn't have direct link with each other, we wouldn't speak to each other. But it's not that you don't know who that person is. So it's like it was like a relationship like that, But yes, Cam is from 140th Street. That's just one block over. One block is like, it's not a couple steps away. So Mace is from a little bit further down on 132nd Street, but he also was a part of the NFL crew. So he mainly used to hang out on 139th Street. So he was, more on 139th Street than he was his own block. So yeah, same thing with Mace too, in the game room, back and forth, sharing bars, but never really had a personal relationship. We even had the same barber, you know what I'm saying? But back then again, Harlem was the type of place if you wasn't, directly, linked. And I was never like a person that try to, tag on to people. I was a little bit prideful and had my own thing going on, doing my own thing. So it was different like that. But yes, I know those guys.
What did you think about Mace getting picked up by Bad Boy, fresh out of Harlem?
I remember when it first happened. I was proud of him. I remember he was supposed to be going to Florida, to get up with Jermaine Dupri, and rumor had it that somehow he missed getting up with Jermaine Dupri, and that somehow he ran into Puff, and that was all she wrote when he ran into Puff. Puff picked him up, and from what I remember and recall, his life immediately changed. Puff moved him out to Long Island into, his house in Long Island, and gave him one of his Benz. You remember Puff had that line, I got a Benz that I ain't even drove yet. Well, Mace was driving that Benz. So, I was happy for him. Besides Big L being successful before them, it really showed that it was a possibility. It was a possibility that, what we saw on TV that we could be a part of. So for me, I was, even though, like I said, might have not conversed too much with those guys, I was very proud of them. And I had on my block, I used to run like a closing stand on my block, So the day that Mace came to Harlem with the Benz and he put all the NFL guys inside the Benz and driving them around Harlem, I watched it. I was right there on my block across the street running my closing stand. And I was proud of it, I was proud of it.
What did you think about Mace ultimately leaving the rap industry, departing from Bad Boy to go and start a church in Atlanta?
Um, I thought that was actually I thought that was commendable at the time that he did it. Um, even though people didn't understand, Harlem was a dangerous place. You know what I'm saying? It was a very dangerous place, and there was a lot of controversy at that time going on in Harlem. And let's just say this. It was the type of place and things that's going on and experiences that you might run into that, sometimes the devil have a way to chasing you to God. And we leave that at that.
You said something on Math Hoffa's show to one of the gentlemen from Smith and Wesson. You stood up for a lot of the Brooklyn cats, but you got criticized for it. There was a lot of people from New York City that agreed with you, but couldn't really say it. They couldn't be like, hey, I agree with Bigga. I love Tupac, but I agree with Bigga. There were a lot of people who were afraid to do that, but you were forced to kind of question it. Can you tell me why you were so passionate about that?
I was one of the guys, I was one of the guys. That's my prime time, At the time when that song came out, I was approximately about 18 years old. And I remember the day that, first of all, let's get this straight. I love Tupac, and that was something that had always been to this day that I deal with. People think that I have a hatred for Tupac or hate for Tupac. Not at all. I love Tupac. I feel he's my kindred brother. I feel that if he was here today, right now, he would be here sitting with the bigger picture, So with that being said, I remember the day that I came up on the corner on 139th Street, and the guys used to drive by. I mean, not drive by, walk by with the shopping carts with the big radios and playing music and stuff like that. And someone was coming down playing the music, and they had this song on, and the beat was impeccable. I'd never forget hearing that beat. And all of us ran around the radio to hear it, and it was the Tupac song, This and Biggie. And I remember hearing it was all, we was all surrounded listening to it. And then he started saying things that just had New York name in it. And that was more so hurtful. You know what I'm saying? Because Tupac was born in Harlem Hospital, which actually is a few blocks away from me. He grew up in the Bronx, where my queen is from. We all loved Tupac. We all respected him. And it was a more hurtful thing that, like, why you mention the New York name? Like, if you have a personal beef with this guy, keep it, personal with him. Like, it was it was a little bit too much New York being thrown around in the song. So it was more of a personal hurt It was more of a like, why is he doing this?
Now, Sean Bigga, these are some questions from the audience members also. And I don't want you to feel some type of way because the people will say to me, if Sean Bigga came to your show and you didn't ask these questions, you're fake. As in me, the interviewer. They will say, Mikey T, you didn't do your job because I didn't ask X, Y, and Z. So I'm just telling you, don't take the questions personal because the streets want to know.
I wouldn't take anything personal. If you ask me a question I don't want to answer, I would just say, no, I'm not going to answer, move on. But go ahead.
You get blamed for sidetracking a lot or sidelining an interview. You get some criticism because people will say, Bigga is taking control of this interview. The questions you ask are powerful. Are you aware that you have this ability to trigger reactions from people?
No, it wasn't. I never started out like that. I never started out to sidetrack any interview or anything like that. If people watch me and stay up with me, they would know I'm mainly quiet person. I been on the previous platform that I was on, I would stay quiet maybe about 80% of the time. But at the same time, me being quiet and me not speaking, I can't be a part of something that I feel that is not showing truth, and I can't be a part of something that I feel that is spreading falsehoods or narratives that might hurt people, and so I have to, at a certain point, interject and state how I feel. This is how I feel about this situation. This is, where I come from with this situation, and that just happened to become something big with people, but it wasn't like a plan of mine or anything like that. It's just I just can't sit there the whole time quiet and hear something that I know that's off and that's actually detrimental to people.
Like I said, you're the type of guy that sticks to his guns. You don't backtrack what you say and how you feel. You're an old school cat from what, and it's like what you see is what you get. But it's also the reason people are like, yo, this is Math Hoffa's show. Let Math Hoffa do the interview, Bigger. Do you feel like you maybe disrupted the norm of what my expert opinion was?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did, but not purposely. But my disruption is what helped get us to be 700,000 to 800,000 people before I left. So I think people actually, took to what I had to say. People, took to me standing, on my square and, stating how I felt. People actually was attracted to that. So I believe that's something that helped us. It wasn't something that was nobody like a yes man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a yes man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit there and just be a yes man. So, but people ultimately like that. People ultimately like to see something challenged, just like what you just said, Mikey. If you just sit there and be a yes man the whole time, people, say like you failed. You know what I'm saying? That's not what they want to see. If I hear artists come up there and glorify money, if I hear people come up there and glorify the streets and glorify a lifestyle that actually hurt us and hurt people, hurt godchildren, I spoke on it. You know what I'm saying? If I hear anything that needed to be spoke on that I felt from my heart, I let the spirit move me and I spoke on it. So I think actually that was beneficial to us as a platform.
Could you tell me how did you meet Math Hoffa? Like, is he your man from the streets or do you know him from battle rapping? Like, could you explain your whole relationship?
I don't want to go too much into Math Hoffa, but I will say this: I met Math Hoffa in Harlem, New York. He was a close friend of mine, like a brother to me. I have love for him to this day. I have no ill feelings towards him through it all. Things went left with me and the brother, which I've already explained on my platform, and I just want to leave that situation at that. He saw things his way, I saw it a different way, and all things work for the will of the Lord.
Could you tell me how you actually ended up on the show, My Expert Opinion?
He was my close friend. He was my close friend. He was like a brother of mine, and he asked me to come on the show several times, and I didn't, because we was already would be together a lot, and he would ask me to come in on the show. I would drop him off at the show, and I would usually pick him up, and we would hang out to sun rose. And he used to always say, Big, I want you to come in on the show, see what I'm doing, see what I'm building, see what I'm doing. And I, was reluctant at first, but then I eventually came in to see what my brother was doing to support him, because he asked me several times.
Can you tell me about having a different type of perspective, due to your wisdom at your age compared to them? Because y'all didn't always see eye to eye, and maybe it was because they are younger. So maybe they didn't catch the message at the moment, but as they grow older, will they?
I think that is all right. So that's another falsehood, I think, that people don't understand. I don't know how old people think I am, but I'm only 3 years older than Math Hoffa. So, like, what was I doing 3 years before them? You know what I'm saying? I think people take the way I speak and the way I carry myself and think that I'm so much a gap. No, I'm 3 years older than Math Hoffa, maybe a couple years, or maybe actually the same age as Heineken. Me and Esso is the same age, so that's not correct. We was all the same age, basically.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you clearing that up. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think some people do assume that you are actually his OG.
No, you know what I'm saying? That was my brother. And still is my brother, always be my brother. Like I said, I love Math, and in my heart, I hope he loves me. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes brothers don't see eye to eye, and sometimes they have differences, and they need to separate, from each other, for whatever reasons that be, But his children, like I said on Bag Few, his children are my nephews, and I will hope that he feel the same about mine. Money is a strange thing. You know, Success is a strange thing, and it could rip families apart. And however the people think which ripped apart is for them to think. I was successful already, at the time of my expert opinion. That it never put any money in my pocket, so it wasn't a success for me besides television. But I was always popular. I was always, a very popular person, and I was already very, very successful before anything to do with my expert opinion. So everybody experienced success differently, and I leave that at that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, for the people who would say Math Hoffa made Sean Bigga, can you tell them a little bit more about who Sean Bigga was before he met Math Hoffa?
I'm the same person I am right now to this day. That's just before you. All praises due to God. I'm a successful business owner. I'm probably the top Black-owned security company in the New York State area. I also supply security all around, pretty much, all the United States that need to be, but I'm based out of New York. I employed thousands of men, and to say like I just said, told you, I run a pretty good operation and been running it for 20 years now. All praises due to God.
When Tony Yayo was on My Expert Opinion, did he get out of pocket with you? Because him and Math Hoffa were going crazy back and forth.
Absolutely not. If you look at the interview completely, Tony Yayo said on the interview, I fucks with Bigga. Like out of all y'all, I fucks with Bigga. You know what I'm saying? So no, wasn't it wasn't a he wasn't directed at me. Whatever was going on that day it wasn't in my direction. But let's just say those guys was under my wing. They was under my protection. And if you're under my protection, Mikey T, and I take that personal somewhat. So I'm not going, it'd be hard for me to sit there and let someone punk you, and I not react. You know what I'm saying? But all shout outs to Tony Yayo. I have so much love for that brother. I expect him to be on my platform so me and him can have a one-on-one very soon. Salute Tony Yayo and Uncle Murder and the whole G unit.
What do you think went wrong with the Tony Yayo interview? Because that was the talk of the internet after it happened. Like, why did it go so seemingly bad?
I didn't think it went bad. I think it went actually good. But again, I wanted the brother to understand, let's not glorify the way we have lived, to the people. We are older now. Let's talk about things that, are more relevant and more constructive to our culture, and maybe I said it in an aggressive way, but I got love for Tony Yayo. I got love for those guys. I think it was just the way, the energy that was in the room. That's all.
Now, outside of the Tony Yayo episode, did you ever feel disrespected on the show? Did you ever feel silenced, like I can't really say what I want to say, or else everyone else is going to get mad?
Yeah, that was all the time. That was a regular thing. That was regular. But it is what it is. That's actually behind me. It's in my rear view.
Can you tell me about creating your own YouTube channel, The Bigga Picture?
Okay, so I always had that in my mind, before I was even on the show. Like I said, I was watching you and others, MREC, shout outs to MREC, and others that kind of started this whole thing out. And I never understood how it worked, but it was always interesting to me. I always would look at YouTube, catch y'all shows, catch battle rap, catch smack. And it was interesting to me. And I didn't know exactly what avenue I kind of wanted to do it in, but I kind of already knew that I wouldn't mind having, doing this type of show. You got to understand, I used to be on a public access channel many years ago. I had my own channel on public access channel. I used to have a show called Akiba Land Consciousness. So this was not something new to me. I used to be on the radio, years ago, and, same thing. I was doing a show called Akiba Land Consciousness. So being on the camera and, or being on the air was not so new to me, and when I started seeing the rise of YouTube, I was interested. I just didn't know how it worked. And I was a very busy person, caught up with my business, as I told you, that I really didn't have time to, focus on the ins and outs of it because I run a very large operation. And the main thing I had time for was when I'm driving back and forth was to play it on my phone. God actually put the pieces into play for me to work out the way it worked out. Like I said, all praises due to the Most High.
So, Sean Bigga, I wanted to ask, what did you think about Eminem dissing Benzino after 20 years?
I thought kind of late, I don't know what really sparked that between those guys. I mean, it's been, like you said, 20 years. I mean, that's like beating a dead horse at this point. But shout out to Benzino and shout out to Eminem. The back and forth was interesting, to say the least.
Do you agree with Benzino? Is Eminem the rap Elvis? Like, do you feel the Eminem, the Elvis comparison is a fair analogy for Eminem?
That's a good question. Eminem the rap Elvis. I would say this. Um, if he is the rap Elvis, I don't I don't think I don't see that in a negative light. I don't see that in a negative light. That would just be what his, legacy is. I guess Benzino is saying because he is using someone else's culture and someone else's music to become who he is, you know. But I don't see that in a negative way. Elvis Presley is a legend. You know, no matter how you see it, Elvis Presley is a legend. No matter how you see it, Eminem is now a legend. So, it's possibly I could say that I could see where he was coming from with that.
How do you feel about Benzino's Rap Elvis diss if you've had the chance to hear it in full?
For it to be 20 some years, I did have a chance to hear it. I heard both of their back and forth, thanks to you. I would he did what he needed to do. He did what he needed to do. It loses its momentum slightly because it's been like 20 years and we don't expect these guys to still be, going at it when we haven't really heard anything from them going at each other and all of this time. You think that was over with, but I liked it. Was it a ether or something like that? Not necessarily, but I understood where Benzino was coming from in the lyrics. I understood what he was standing on.
So I wanted to ask also, what do you think about Benzino crying on Drink Champs? Some people say it was the alcohol. Some people say it's fine. Gangsters cry too. Some people will say that's soft. You know what I mean? Some people will say Nori should have edited it out. How do you feel about that?
Well, if you were more familiar with the previous platform, I went through that with Troy Ave. I told Troy Ave that I cry all the time, and he thought that was like a joke or a laugh at the moment. But I know a lot of killers. You understand, killers that cry every night. So the real recognize real, and we understand that this war that we go through, Mikey T, brings pain. It brings pain to the heart and the soul. So crying is not something that's, far-fetched. Anyone that has suffered through this war, that comes along with it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes your spirit is overwhelmed, and that's something from God. To see it as a weakness would be a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Because as I said on the previous platform, sometimes I cry not to let the man in me tear your head off, to lay you to rest. So tears, you have to understand tears, for those that don't understand it, those are the typical people, but all crying is not the same. Sometimes it's your soul, it's the pain that you have been through, the pain that you're enduring, and the pain that you're trying probably not to go through. So it's nothing negative with crying. It actually is God's way of cleansing the soul.
Can you let everybody know where they can find you on social media, where your YouTube channel is as well, and also the type of content you're planning on bringing to the world? Because I know you're doing a wide variety.
Well, the bigger picture is like production. The throne room is the show. So you can find me if you just look go into your thing and put in the bigger picture. Make sure you spell it Bigga, picture. It comes right up. And you will see the throne room where I'm sitting at right now. And I pretty much positivity and whatever, I'm a positive person. Like I said, I'm not with the riffraff. Um, and whatever I bring to the people is always positivity. I'm on there speaking from the pulpit. I have guests, and it's me and my queen, and we pretty much, coming for the community in a positive way. And instead of so much, I won't call it trash that's on the internet, but let's just say negativity, non-good vibes that's on the internet. We're not that. We come with positivity. We have children. We come with stuff that our kids will be able to be proud of us for in the future. We try to highlight what's correct, and above all, we highlight God. We highlight what needs. We put it right where it's supposed to be. But positivity for sure. So that would be what is different about watching the throne room. The bigger picture. And we have so much. We have array of stuff. We're out in the street. We do the news. That's really taking off really like great right now. People are reacting to that. Shout out to Diamond D. She is in every borough, and we're going to the people, right to the people, doing news right with the people about major topics. Right now, she just did one with the illegal immigrants that, oh wow, it did so well. It is outstanding. I'm very proud of her. Shout out to Diamond D again. But just positivity, just coming to the people with positivity. Like I told you before, I'm somewhat of I like to be in the movies too, Mikey. So I do a lot of acting as well. I shoot commercials, non-drug commercials, and I'm about to do a lot of sitcom type of stuff on the show too. So it's just a large variety you get when you come and you watch the bigger picture, and it gives you that feeling of where we come from, what we was raised from, a 90s type of feeling.
Yeah, and you're also, detailing your early life in chapters, like each part of your life.
Yeah, right now I'm up to I believe we're up to the second chapter. I'm taking time with the third chapter because it's very touchy subject for me. It's very heartbreaking for me. It's just a heartbreaking in the world of, soon find out what making of the man is. I went through a lot and been through a lot to see the person that's sitting in front of you.
I wanted to ask, before that encounter with Troy Ave, were you familiar with his career? Is it something you
Oh,
kept up with?
absolutely, absolutely. I followed Troy Ave. I used to get all his mixtapes when he first came out. I liked his music. I was a follower of his music. You know, um, prior to the drama that he went through.
What was your take on Troy Ave actually saying in the lyrics on his mixtape that he would take the stand, and then eventually he ended up taking the stand?
He broke the rules. I mean, you know, um, that's not no shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? That's not no shot at him. But what we it's a tricky game, with in the lifestyle that we come up in, that he was portraying to the people up into that moment that he was a part of. When you if me and you get into a beef, Mikey T, and we both decide to attack each other, or handle it in a street manner, and you get the upper hand on me, it's not for me to run and tell the authorities on you, or testify on the authorities on you. We got to keep it, where it's at. I don't promote any of that stuff. I'm against it all, but the streets is the streets. The rules are the rules that was sketched in the play before any of us. And understand those rules is just a certain integrity that a man has. It's a certain integrity that any man should have. So, once you, again, if we both go into combat of some sort, and somehow, I might get the upper hand on you, instead of running and telling the authorities, in that world, it come back. It's for me to come back and deal with that situation again. Not to run and tell the authorities. And that exact situation, then he was the initiator. So even by him being the initiator, he brought upon that situation. Now, I know what they say that, I'm not talking about the back and forth, YouTube, stuff that these guys do and what they call it trolling. I stay very careful of stuff like that. That's why I told you I was slandering nobody, because I come from that real world. Some people perpetrate that, but they're not exactly what they say they are, and when you come from that world, yes, you already know trolling could lead to something, somebody troll me, the man in me, the spirit wrestles against the flesh part of me would take hard offense to something like trolling. And if I could get to you, I would, but I pray to God and I ask him, and that's where the tears come in, to allow me to turn the other cheek, which is, when I was a child, I thought that was the most outlandish thing that I could ever hear. I thought when I used to see Martin Luther King and his movement, pretty much react that situation when they would be attacked and spit on and dogs sicked on them and them hit and they wouldn't fight or they wouldn't do anything. I used to think that was that could never be me. You know what I'm saying? But as I got older, I realized, do you know how much bravery that it takes to actually go through those same incidents and might have the power to react? Because when you look at the situation, Martin Luther King could have turned that whole situation into something different. He could have told the people, we fighting. And he would have had a stronger movement than Malcolm X, but by him turning the other cheek, it did something for the movement that was impeccable. It exposed the people, the very people who was doing that to them. It wasn't like a fight back. It went down in history like, how can you attack someone who's not trying to fight you? You know what I'm saying? How can you attack someone that's not what they're trying to do to you? So that's my take on that situation.
So I wanted to ask, what do you think about French Montana, coming out of the battle rap and the DVD scene to become one of the top selling artists?
I I follow his movement from the start. Shout out to Max B. He comes from around my block too. We grew up together too. That's my dude, Charlie. Hope you come home soon and hope you be sitting in the seat of the esteem. I followed French Montana from the times he was doing it wasn't mixtape. It was like the VHS.
Cocaine City DVDs.
Yeah, exactly. The Cocaine City DVDs. I was in tune with him all the way since then to the time he went, started rapping and was with Max B when he first made his first mixtape and had the guy in Harlem for inside of it. What's his name? Um, the back in the days, one of the back in the days gangsters. I can't think of his name off top. He had him in like one of his like first videos. So I was in tune with him for a long time, and I was definitely proud of him when he became successful too. Um, Shout outs to French Montana. I think he's not the same person that I watched with Max B. He elevated to something else, but um, he got with certain people, and I guess that comes with change. Everybody. So again, success, like I said earlier, success. I would say it changed people, but I hear the queen inside my head. And my queen says, no, honey, no. The success, the money brings out something that's already inside of that person, and it just amplifies it. So I tend to kind of agree with her on that. So, I think that after Max B unfortunately got incarcerated and certain connections was made for French Montana, he wasn't the same exact, French Montana that we knew, the, gritty, grimy French Montana. But hey, everybody's trying to take care of their children and, be successful. And some people just take different roads, and accept different things in order for that to become.
When French Montana connected with Max B, they took it to a whole nother level. What are your thoughts on Max B being a Harlem legend and all?
I love Max B. Like I said, he was one of the ones I grew up with, and I was just so proud of him. Saying when I first heard him on the mixed CDs with the Bird Gang, he was locked up for a long time prior to that. Max B was one of the ones that went to jail when we was young. So he was already, doing long bids and time before we knew him as we knew him now. And I was just proud of him, you know what I'm saying? Like on the block, no offense or anything, that was Little Charlie, everybody know that was Little Charlie, you know what I'm saying? And I was happy, you know what I'm saying? I was happy that he found his wave. I was happy he found his wave. Max B is a real one.
Yeah, and he should be home by 2025. And you said you're looking forward to having him on your YouTube channel as well. That's crazy, Big. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's my guy, you know what I'm saying? That's my guy. Before he got incarcerated, we were supposed to do some things together. I was gonna take over his security detail, his protection, but he was already fighting this case at that time, and one thing led to another, and he fell to the case, unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember he got locked up in 2009. I actually did my first interview with Max B in 2011, and then a second interview with Max B in 2013 while everybody was waiting on the appeal. And he had a sentence reduced from, I want to say, from 34 years to 20 years. based on the charges being reduced to manslaughter charges, which will bring him home in 2025.
But that's great, I look forward to him coming home. The way we'll return. I would like to look forward to see what type of music that he will bring out, from that long incarceration, because we're all older now, we all have older children. So, I look forward to see where, where, how far he's elevated and the things he write on paper and decides to spit to the world.
Sean Bigga, if I were to ask you who was your top 5 artist of all time, could you give me a response to that off the top of your head?
A little tough. Man, the Queen was just going through this the other day. So that's of all time, and I guess it's always going to be biased when you ask that question, depending on the age of the person, but LL Cool J, Rakim, KRS-One, and this is where it gets sticky at those last two. It's so many people that could fit in that slot. Big Daddy Kane was something. It would probably be Jay-Z as we know it if it wasn't for Big Daddy Kane. But there's a few others that you got Coogee Rap, you got Nas, of course. So that one is you got Jay-Z, so the last two I would have a problem with. The first three is simple. The last two, they're so close and neck, the last two. So the last two will be a real, brain picker for me of who would I say the last two off. I know I kind of lean towards Big Daddy Kane, so he probably would be in there.
You said Jay-Z at 5?
No, because I can't. If you say Jay-Z, I got to think about Biggie, and I would say Biggie over Jay-Z. So that and then, like I said, it's so many. When you think about that, it's so many of them around there that come neck and neck. Can never leave out Coogee Rap. So Coogee Rap is ultimate legend for me. So it's really tough on that one, that last one. That's a toss up. Whatever you toss the coin and think it is, I will go with that one. And so I could do a top 5 when it comes to that, right? But it will be between Biggie, Jay-Z, Coogee Rap, and I'm sure I'm missing probably about at least 3 more. It's about at least about 5 people, 5 to 6 people right in line for that last one for me.
Wow, I should have probably asked you a top 10. Well, Sean Bigga, I really appreciate you joining me on the platform for this, open conversation that we've had, man. And I wish you well on the Bigga Picture platform. Obviously, I'm going to link it for everybody watching this. You can just hit the link in the description and you will be brought back to Sean Bigga's page. Did you have an outro you wanted to do?
No, I just want to say again, shout out to you, Mikey T, the movie star. Appreciate you having me on. Check us again at the Bigga Picture, the Throne Room, and also very important, you could, for all those out there, Sun and Shield, the Throne Room drink. It is non-alcohol. It's made to taste like alcohol, but it's no alcohol in it. This is one of my babies that I was working on for a couple of years. I also have beer. I also have wine, all non-alcoholic. Now, I have whiskey, I have tequila, I have rum, I have gin, made to taste just like the real thing, but non-alcoholic. Very important. You can support me on this by going on my online, and it'll be on sale in my online store when you look up the bigger picture.
All right, so Sean, I got this segment that I do. It's called This or That. I'm going to give you two options. I need you to choose one. You know what I'm saying? If it comes down to it, you can't. I mean, you can do what you want. You're Sean Bigga. You know what I'm saying? But you ready to do this?
Of course.
Big L or Joel Santana?
Are you kidding me? Big L.
DMX or Tupac?
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's say DMX.
All right, I respect that. Brownsville or Far Rock?
They both are monsters, you know, in itself. I would have to say Brownsville because it's more legendary that we know of. You know, Far Rock might be just far out there, but Brownsville is like the home of legendary things that we know of.
BJ's or Foot Locker?
Foot Locker.
Beef patty with cheese or chopped cheese?
For me, neither. I don't eat meat.
Bronx River or Sound View?
That's another tough one. It's another tough one. Ooh, that's another tough one. I would say Bronx River.
Hassan Campbell or Doggy Diamonds?
For me, I would say Doggy Diamonds. I, I respect more of what he stands for, what his platform stands for. So for me, I would say Doggy Diamonds, and that's no shot to Hassan Campbell. You know what I'm saying? Even though he said some disparaging things about me when things went down, I was, you know, it's no shot to him. I'm saying Doggy Diamonds because Doggy Diamonds seem to stand a little bit on a different type of ground and drink from a different type of water.
Whack 100 or Suge Knight?
Suge Knight.
Bad Boy or Death Row?
It probably an unfair comparison because Bad Boy had a much longer run than Death Row had. So Bad Boy.
The Outlaws or Junior Mafia?
The Outlaws.
K Slay or DJ Clue?
Oh, that's tough. Both legends, but that's a tough one. They're both legends, but I have to look at the effect. When you ask me, I have to look at the effect on the game. Clue doesn't get his full recognition for his effect on hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Neither does K Slay, but would there be a K Slay all the way if there wasn't a DJ Clue? Like DJ Clue laid the foundation for so many, artists that, so many DJs that came after him. DJ Clue go all the way back to, my childhood. There was a time when there was DJ Clue mixtape was a piece of value. So that's a tough one for me. I might have to tip the scale to DJ Clue on that.
Rest in peace, DJ K Slay.
Always.
The next one is Funk Master Flex or DJ Enough.
Funk Master Flex. We can't take away from him either. We can't take away from what Funk Master Flex did to the culture, did for the culture. I like Enough. Shout outs to Enough, but yeah, Funk Master Flex is the tunnel. There was a time where Funk Master Flex was considered, like in the top 5 influences of hip hop. Those that's me and your age. So remember that.
Hot 97 or Power 105?
That's good. That's a good one. Again, you're dealing with, I think, the legendary status more so. Of course, 105 is very good right now. On the come up and they're strong, but 97 is two legendaries. 97.
Mets or Yankees?
The Yankees.
Beamer or Benz?
Benz.
$1 million worth of game or Drink Champs?
Tough one again. I was on Drink Champ. Shout out to Nori. He gave me my flowers. I would have to say Nori. I would have to say Drink Champs.
Hennessy or vodka?
I don't promote alcohol, but when I did drink Hennessy.
Drill or trap?
They're very similar. I think drill music was born out of trap music. So then again, you're dealing with the legendary thing. So if drill music was born out of trap music, I would have to say trap.
50 Cent or Ja Rule?
50 Cent. And no shout out, much respect to Ja, but 50 Cent, he proved himself to be something different.
Papoose or Chic Luch?
Papoose.
Could you tell me what were the issues with you and Hassan Campbell?
There was no issue. I don't do issues, but he did a blog or something saying that by me going to Heineken and Esso was like very shady. He did a blog saying, oh, I went and sat down with the enemies and that was shady and, looking at, me funny because of that or something like that. Not even knowing the situation. I had better respect for him before then. You didn't even know what the situation was, bro. You didn't even know what happened with us. Mind your business a little bit. That was, people want to speak on what they want to speak on, but sometimes we should speak on things with intelligence. You don't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what I had went through. You don't know what the dealings was in that situation. But got no issue with that guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no issues with anyone but Satan, the devil.
How was it when you actually got a chance to meet with him in person?
when we did the show, he was, he's a Virgo like I am, I believe. So, I understand him. You know what I'm saying? There was, he was all right. He was cool. He was cool to me. We actually did 2 shows with him that I was on. So, controversial figure, you know what I'm saying? Very controversial figure, but I think guided in the right direction, he could be an asset.
What are your plans for the near future? Like, what's the immediate things that you're going to be working on that everyone should be looking out for?
The show is growing. It's growing fast. Me putting in my spirit into the show, me putting in my spirit in the show, having guests, all the guests that people probably wouldn't believe that I got so fast. Me doing more of my acting, through the show with sitcoms and whatnot, things like of that nature. Um, I have a clothing store that I have just recently opened. I'm going to start shooting some tailor-made clothing store, and I'm going to be shooting some shows from there. And just positivity. I'm in a transition right now. Um, so you will be getting a lot of pool pit stuff. So me, reaching for perfection, to Christ standard. Um, that's definitely my future.